Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 16, Week 7. Well, really, it's kind of the playoffs, because this is a trombone. Really, it's kind of the playoffs, because for all intents and purposes, this is basically a bracket game. This is basically the playoff game. I won't tell you why that is, but if you're in this league, you probably guessed by now. We're looking at Reedy taking on Team Cryptic, and with me here today is a man who has been impersonated by our secret mystery guest commentator on many occasions, very negatively portrayed, might I add, Mr. Maniac. How's it going, Maniac?
Howdy, folks. Also, excuse me?
Oh, yeah. Did you not? I swear, you were in games where, that guy who I bring on to cast sometimes was like, oh yeah, I'm Maniac. Yeah, and I messed everything up, and I'm really stupid, and I'm a poo-poo head. He said that about you.
Dang. Well, no notes. All correct so far.
Oof. Interesting. Did not expect to start the proceedings here with a poo-poo head confession.
Well, sometimes you just gotta know who you are.
Gonna be first phasing the Windrunner here today. That's likely on J-Bay. Who's gonna be, if you've forgotten
Almost
already.
certainly. That's
Playing mid for this.
one of his,
10 seconds remaining.
one of his specialty heroes for sure.
One of his waifus.
5 seconds remaining.
Were you there when he showed everybody in LD2 the pillow he got with her, never mind.
Team pick.
I was not, but that's some good info. Thank you for that.
By the way, Reedy banning out all the Cryptic heroes. Cryptic banning out Spearbreaker Medusa, which is just two very cancer heroes in this particular patch. This particular patch, which is now past tense. Though, of course, I'm also going to be saying that for all the playoff quarterfinals games, but you know how that goes. One hero that I do not expect to be going anywhere is Snapfire, who got nerfed way less than I thought she'd be.
I suspect that there was a sort of an idea that they still wanted her to be viable as, pause 5 or a pause 4. They were trying to sort of nerf her more as a mid, was sort of my understanding.
And one good Windrunner deserves a Drow Ranger. That's an interesting pick, especially considering Meth is the one drafting. Interesting pick to levy for yourself this early on in the proceedings.
Well, I see a lot of people do this at the 8 pick, because then it gives you 3 bans to protect it, and, the next pick would be the 15 pick, which obviously is a little bit of a weak pick itself.
On one hand, that's true. On the other hand, though, I do feel like Drow Ranger is one of the heroes where, unless you've got, like, a really good position to jump her off from, like, in the first phase, like, unless you know what the offlane is first phase, I feel like that's a little hard to go for. Like, she's just got so many. She's very binary. One of those heroes that I talk about sometimes, like an Ursa, for example. You can basically tell the moment draft ends how game is going to go for Drow, because it's like either she's just going to walk on the lane, walk on the team, and just dominate, or she's just going to do nothing at all. I feel like
you either take it over or you don't.
Yeah, and I feel like the pool of heroes who can kind of single-handedly stop her from doing that, it's a little big for me to think about putting her up at an 8 pick, especially when you got Carp, who has a lot of, like, pretty safe 8 pick choices, I think.
Can't disagree with any of that.
Like, there's nothing in the game, I don't think, that's going to be, like, super-duper countering, like, Ember Spirit. I don't think there's a hero that makes Ember Spirit just completely not have a game, like that sort of thing. Like, that's a pretty safe 8.
For sure. There are some heroes, I guess, that can win the mid against it, but you're right in that the overall game, that's still a safer pick than Dro.
Darkseer knocked out. The Visage knocked out. Interesting, they must think they're playing against Dusty. Meth knocks out
that band every single game.
Yep. Meth knocks out the except where he played it as pause 1. Meth knocks out the bounty, the TA, the Faceless Void, interestingly. Faceless Void, definitely a very sensible ban here. I don't know if Reedy is much of a Faceless Void player himself, but that is like one of the worst imaginable things for Drow to run into. If you want a hero that's going to kill you every single team fight with no remorse, it's a great one on the list. So notably, knocked out the Bounty Hunter G-Rav Comfort there. She was interesting. TA Comfort even more interesting. I don't really... I would not be thinking TA was coming out this game, I gotta say. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm naive, maybe that ruined Reedy's whole draft. But it does feel like when you've got a hero that's kind of as fragile in her position as Drow. You know, TA something to think about banning next phase, not this one.
Can't disagree.
Like, I'm not even that worried. Like, you can just gust her when she's sitting there silence, and then she's like, well, now what?
In general, I feel like, you know, if you're taking 3 bans to protect a Drow Ranger, they've wasted 2 of them. Even the Bounty, I mean, it's not great for the Drow, but there are much worse heroes that they
Yeah,
could have picked.
I will say, if Bounty Hunter is, like, super comfort, though, it can be kind of nightmarish, and I think it's probably valid if you have G-Raf. Like, if you have G-Raf and you're putting him in a situation where he's got, like, an above-average Bounty Hunter game, what are you doing? Stop that. Make him play a shitty one or make him not play it at all. Legion Commander coming up. That kind of sucks for Drow. A lot of Drows based on being able to freely use abilities, and she don't have that no more. Winter Wyvern's a good answer to that.
Puts her close to her, which nullifies her ult.
Radiant team pick.
Tidehunter.
I don't like this. Oh, I don't like the Tide Winter Wyvern combo. I don't like it much at all. It's just too redundant. They just don't add to each other at all, and they just have the exact same strength. All you're doing is just prolonging your power play time. They're not able to really significantly help each other at all. Really, what the only thing Tide brings to it is being able to gush the target that's being Winter Wyvern ulted. That's it. I love the Winter Wyvern pick here. Actually, that's really good. Jakiro kind of makes it not as great as it could be, but it like super screws over Windrunner. If you put Drow in a Popsicle, Windrunner literally almost can't do anything about it. LC almost can't do anything about it. Great dual save. Tidehunter is like, it's going to be okay against the LC personally. The ability to hit aura is going to be able to be a nice reset to duels. And Tidehunter Snapfire is a great combination of heroes. It's just like, Winter Wyvern and Snapfire is also a really great combination of heroes, which is better in this game. You could have just stuck Rada on something else, I think, and had a better time. Winter Wyvern could basically handle what he's got going for him A-okay.
Bit of a hat on a hat, then.
Yeah. Reedy thinking up this pick. No surprises here, this may be the most important one on the board. I do feel like we are kind of in a situation where because the Cryptic team has picked such a very predictable lineup and the way they're going to operate in this game, you do have a very good open field with which to do something about this, and they've decided that the thing to do about this is techies, which, even beyond him just being statistically good right now, is actually a very good and interesting choice, I think. You know, one of the big upsides to Tidehunter is that when you're a big, scary-looking green guy, you can kind of just go wherever you like. You can kind of just do whatever you want, right? The world is your oyster if you're Tidehunter and you're not, you know, owing a million, right? You get pretty free range of movement. Winter Wyvern really likes her range of movement, likes to be able to freely just blow around in the trees, likes to be able to immediately snap to people, put them in the Popsicle, get the funny ults off. Drow Ranger likes to be able to, you know, Hurricane Pike out of a bad situation, likes to control her positioning very much. Techies is the ultimate screw your positioning guy, if he's, you know, smart and preps his stuff in advance. Techies can very easily create a scenario where Drow Ranger feels like she has to stand still in the middle of a fight she wouldn't otherwise, and can't do anything and dies as a result. You know, techies can very easily engineer a scenario where Tidehunter really, really wanted to help with that last gank, don't get me wrong, except he walked into 3 red mines on the way and now he's at 30% health, so he can't.
5 seconds remaining.
For a team like this, which is going to be very reactive in nature, and going to be very much based around the ults and the positioning everybody is in when those ults come out, very dependent on Winter's Curse, very dependent on the Ravage, very dependent on the Snapfire ult, to make sure Drow just doesn't get creamed in 2 seconds and the rest of her team ignored. I think it's a pretty good pick, even beyond the memeliness of techies. Ursaban, that's very interesting. I feel like they need a slightly less greedy Pozlon than that. Void Spirit Band. Hey, wait a minute.
10 seconds remaining.
No, this isn't game 2.
Seconds remaining.
I know what their
This is the
lineup
first
is. They just have very similar lineups in game 1, game 2 on both teams.
I'm a little bit surprised by that. I would have thought that they would have made a change after this, because frankly, this does not seem like it's working.
Hey,
Like
you
it's
don't
going to
know.
work, I should say.
Yeah, there we go. Void Spirit, Ember Spirit knocked out. Kind of what I was
I
getting
just
at
don't see
earlier.
the synergy.
Like, I think if you pick up like an Ember at the top of the card, and you pick up a Drow at the end of the card, right?
10 seconds remaining.
You know, you got away with Ember Spirit not being banned out, and it's not really a bad
5
game.
seconds remaining.
Last time we saw the Ember Spirit versus Windrunner at mid matchup, on one hand, Windrunner did actually win that. On the other hand, that has a lot to do with the fact that Reedy was like, I know I'm being ulted by this Windrunner, and I have a Remnant and plenty of mana to get out, but like, I think I can tank this, basically.
That, while he is definitely better than me, that definitely sounds like one of his decisions.
There we go, shoutouts to Reedy.
Shout out.
Thinking here. It's going to be tough for... I feel like this particular lineup is a sort of team where Carp is going to stick out like a sore thumb. I don't know if these like big teamfight specialist types of heroes are going to be something he's going to gel with necessarily all that well, right? And it's not like he can run like a... You know, it's not like he can run the Storm in this game.
Team pick.
He can try to run the Zeus, though. That is interesting.
I feel like that runs into many of the same issues that they already had with Drow, and I don't know that that was necessarily their problem.
Yeah, Zeus is interesting here. On one hand, if Zeus doesn't die at 1 femtosecond into every fight, they really don't have any good answer to
5
him.
seconds
Like, if he's not the duel target, he can basically instantly ruin the duel. If he's not the one getting shackled and killed by Windrunner, he can deal with her just like that. One of the best heroes in the game to deal with Windrunner if he's not the one being focus fired. Only problem is that one duel
He's going
kills
to be
him.
that one.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
duel kills him, one focus fire kills him, PA kills the hell out of her. I mean, out of
Absolutely.
him. I mean,
One
PA
better.
was complete dog water in this patch, but this is like, and probably going to be complete dog water in the next patch, to be honest with you. That new ult change doesn't inspire me. But on the other hand, it's like, this is like God's gift to PA games. You've got one guy, now really you've got two guys on this team that you're not going to be able to instantly shred as a PA, and one of them is a big stupid watermelon who you can passive break to make useless anyway. The other is Snapfire, and like, who cares? You got plenty of tools to deal with her. The one issue is going to be, they really still don't have anything that's particularly good to deal with Wind Wyvern, and the Winter's Curse in this game is like insane. Especially, it's like, the more LC balls, the more careful she has to be. If you can get into this situation where LC just instantly kills either Windrunner or PA every single fight, like right at the start of it, you're in a bad
Where
way.
LC kills Windrunner or PA?
Yeah,
She's on their team.
I'm talking about Winter's Curse.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yep, the more
Sorry.
probably cut out there because it's loading. The more LC balls, the more of a liability she can become. They still don't really have many satisfying answers to the Bobsicle. Hell, Techie's helped. PA didn't. Has literally no way to hit somebody who is in the Wyvern heal.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised that they didn't pick, sort of anything really to deal with it that well. Even
Yeah.
Techies is not particularly great at dealing with it.
I mean, they have the Jakiro. The Jakiro, I imagine, they're just saying, okay, if somebody is in the heal zone, Jakiro's going to take care of it. Just kind of leaving it at that.
Might work, but Jakiro is much about damage over time. That's not necessarily enough to win it in time to win a duel, for example.
There we go, that was interesting. I think somebody paused during like the black screen transition of the intro there, which is just just a good way to make you worry a little bit. They still have these Hollywood team themed names going on for some reason on the Cryptic team lineup. Except the bots. They do have 2 bot names. Okay, have you ever seen the selling is service video?
I'm afraid I haven't.
Bro, nobody I've done a cast with who sees one of these Reedy games has ever seen that video except for
30
Randy. It's fucked
seconds
up.
to battle.
Link it to me. I'll
Yeah,
watch
there we
it
go.
for the next time.
Yeah, there we go. It'll be good. It'll be good homework, even though he's gonna change his sponsor after this season. It's not gonna matter anymore. Do you think Jerry D. Bayless is J-Bay's real name? I've asked somebody this before, and they didn't really answer the question.
That would certainly make a lot of sense. But
True.
I kind of hope not.
Begins.
What, you don't want to be sponsored by your real-life name? Which is, what do you think? What's
Well,
your real
more than
name
that.
again?
Not at all.
Just remind everybody what your...
Every single game.
It's, Frederico M. Comunes. That's Maniac's real name, if you were wondering.
That is correct. The
All
M
right.
stands.
Well, nothing really happening here at the ruins. Let's go down the list, and let's have a brief little spat here. Actually, oh man, S-Culture's gonna lose like half his HP and throw a blood grenade down there, trying to deal with Sabo here. It's not gonna be nice. I think support trays in this lane for at least a while are definitely gonna be favoring the hero, unless he just kind of stands around, lets himself get shot in the back of the head. Anyway. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the whole show, the roll call. So, for Team Reedy, pause 1, captain of the team, on the PA you've got Reedy, the 2-time. Pause 2, on the Windrunner, you've got J-Bay8. Pause 3, on the Legion Commander, you've got the Giraffe. Pause 4, 1-up Molsky, but there's no 1-up. We've gotten closer to Molsky being 1-up Molsky 1-up, but we haven't quite returned to that lofty peak quite yet. He's on the techies. And pause 5, we have Sabo on Jakiro. Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, on Team Cryptic, pause 1, you've got Meph on the Drow Ranger. Pause 2, you've got Warcarp on the Zeus. Pause 3, you've got Rada on the Tidehunter, getting fire breathed at him. Pause 4, you've got S-Culture 3 on the Snapfire. And pause 5, you've got Cryptic on the Winter Wyvern. Cryptic, who, despite the rest of the deficiencies, unfortunate as they may be in the draft, certainly he's going to have a good game if nothing else. Like I said earlier, you know, there's really... There's one thing that's good against his heal, and there's like 0 things that are good to deal with this ult. It's not like any of these guys particularly want to buy Lincolns, and even if you do, well, Zeus has Arc Lightning. That's like one of the easiest anti-Lincoln things in the game. Drow is going to get really screwed up here by the Radiant off lane, but barely managed to scrape out. But, you know, Gush, until it becomes the Ags version, also a very easy break. The Snapfire, a little shorter doesn't do that anymore, does it? I don't think, but most likely going to at least build like a 4-staff or something. That's another easy one. It's not like this is going to be like a really ideal Lincoln's game. Even that's not going to be quite the solution you want for the winter. Oh my god. Alright. That was Discord restarting there, as it does sometimes. So we are going to be Maniac free for just a minute here. Oh, 1-up Molsky, 1-up, getting very low. So I'm watching Discord like a hawk, waiting for it to reopen here. I wonder why it does this. This is a very recent thing. If you could not imagine from the fact that it did not used to happen when I was doing casts. Culture 3 gonna get a little beat up. They're going for it. They're going the whole 9 yards. They want this funny grandma. And Jakiro's gonna get it. They probably wanted that first blood on PA, but I'm sure they're probably fine with that. Nobody ever said Jakiro was, you know, unflattering to get money on. Nobody said it was unseemly. PA would have been better, but them's the breaks, baby. Them's the breaks. Oh, look at this slacker. Oh, wait, no, I'm authenticating. I can't make fun of him yet. Look at this slacker. Missed out on first blood and everything. Taking a nap?
No, I'm sorry. I'm having some Internet troubles.
No, it's not you. It's actually because my Discord just randomly restarted itself for no reason in the middle of the cast, which it's been doing a lot recently for some reason.
Gotcha.
I think it's some
That'll
update they
explain
did.
it.
Anyway, you missed First Blood. Pro tip, spoilers, actually, it was just Snapfire getting kind of run over in it.
Second blood here.
Second and third blood, actually. Maybe fourth, Cryptic's being body blocked, but
Will he get him?
yeah, with no W, it's a little hard.
Eventually.
He is
right?
gonna get
Yeah.
him down, yep.
Not even a contest.
Well, you know, I said before that if the Pause 5 and the Pause 4 both die, and the real winner is the Pause 1. But if the Pause 5, the Pause 4, and the Pause 1 in a lane all die, no surprises on who the winner on that one is. It's not really what you want to happen at this point if you're Meph, I don't think. This is already looking like a pretty tough Drow game. Like, really, your only lifeline in this game is going to be the Winter Wyvern. Turn off bots next game, please. You got it. The only real lifeline you've got in this game is going to be the Winter Wyvern. And,
I don't know that that's going to be enough to carry a game.
Top is missing.
yeah, no, it's going to be tough, especially considering it's like Zeus is in the exact same spot, and Techies is coming to gank him. Zeus is in the exact same spot. Like, he's also this really not tanky guy who even Tidehunter is going to struggle to, like, do anything of value about. He's going to try and fight a little bit here to stay up, but it's not going to work. And he's going to call Techies missing. Well, bad news, Carp. The man died, so nobody knew he was missing. I mean, for the record, by the way, I know it's something simple, but sometimes you want to call out the simple stuff in LD2L. Like, if you see somebody pop up on the kill cam, that's basically a missing call when they come up. You don't know where they're going to go, and you cannot naturally assume that they're going back to the same spot till you see them there. So far, the top lane and the mid lane are favoring the Reedy team. However, despite the kill so far, Tidehunter has been able to stay alive, stay afloat, as it were, in this lane. Is leading the PA for last hits and is fairly comfortably doing so, especially, or I guess rather, even with the lack of presence of the Snapfire in this lane for the past little while.
In general, PA is not a very strong laner this early, but
Yep.
she'll get into it.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this matchup is that, you know, Tidehunter to PA is like really, really ungodly. Huh? Hold on. Gotta look at that before I make this point. Oh, it's just JB goes for a gank, just kills him instantly. Well, there's your revenge for the
This one's a little
lack of a
tough
missing
to do.
call.
Yep.
Anyway. Well, that was more of a real... Did he call that? No, he didn't! Ooh, Flame Carp. His child, by the way, as we speak, is being born, Flame Carp.
Is under attack.
Well, congratulations to him.
Yeah. He was trying to find a Dota hero to name his kid after, and he did not take my suggestion of Rotundjeri. For some reason.
Cannot imagine why.
Is under attack. Our scan.
Anyway, Flame Carp, that's what I'm saying. Oh, bonk, that's all I said. Shoutouts to Centaur, the real MVP of LD2L. But, oh, geez, yeah, Tidehunter into PA is usually a very bad situation for Tidehunter. But the thing is that in lane it really isn't. It really does not matter that much. He is a tanky enough guy that he's not really going to be... Well, he's going to get fire breathed at him here. He's a tanky enough guy that he's not really going to care that much about, well, Snapfire certainly is.
Absolutely.
About the knives. Just getting a wand is going to be more than enough to keep him at least afloat in lanes. And the, just the general strength, her lack of critting for a while. Now, once she hits level 6, we're talking about a very different story, but until that point, he is, like, more than okay to be in a lane against her. This Jakiro guy, maybe not so much. And the sad thing is, even the, even range rumps are going to help him much here. You know, this is one of these cases where I think, you have to, at least you ideally want to go for the old casual cloak. Giraffe just won a duel in like a frame. And then he died. That's sad. You always love a good comedically timed Zeus ult. But, Windrunner rolls top once again. Helps LC to her first... Oh, that wasn't a dual win legally. Okay. I guess she won way too early there.
Missing middle.
Gets LC at least what should have been a dual win, but wasn't, I guess. That was weird. Either way, certainly a situation that's going to favor the Radiant quite heavily. And 895 gold passed into their pockets. The Radiant, this lane is going so well that they almost equalized on their money with the one kill on the LC.
That's a sign that things are going pretty catastrophically.
It's not like the end of the world, I don't think. Okay, that could possibly be the end of the world. See this happen.
Yep. Yeah, this is always the tough part of playing Zeus against Windrunner.
Good attempt there at the very least on Cryptic's part. It's just really almost more unfortunate than anything. This can't be good. You know, it's the only thing sadder than no rotation at all is when you get a rotation and you literally arrive a frame too late just to watch Zeus die there. Because he lives. Not only does he live, they probably get a kill back on the Windrunner.
They absolutely get the kill.
Tis a
Zeus gets off
shame.
one more spell.
Missing bottom.
See, the importance of good communication, I think. I'm gonna get quite bullied here. They're actually going very deep on her here. Interesting decision to turn there. Maybe assuming that there's more people involved. Tide, get out of there,
Just
bro.
kind of sitting in there.
Dyer's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, that's very unfortunate.
Sort of self-inflicted, really.
There's Culture 3. Pain coming to him. Gonna try to at least live through PA here, but...
Oh, yeah, okay.
Take a look at the net worth charts here. It ain't looking too hot. Oh, look away, I'm dead. This reminds me of a game Meth had at the end of last season, except he was against the Zeus that time, he wasn't with the Zeus.
Where the Zeus was also the only hero.
The comedic timing hero, yeah. There was a certain segment where Meth tries to go in on somebody. He's out of mana, he's frustrated by this, he buys 2 clarities off the courier, sits in lane and waits for them to get delivered. And then he... Oh, good...
good use of the Wyvern.
They try to get River anyway, they actually will. But no dual win, there's at least something to be said for that.
I don't know, if I'm a Drow Ranger in 5th place on the net worth board at 11 minutes, I'm not going to be seeing a lot of good in this.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, Meth isn't happy, but everybody else at least is, like happy, I guess. Anyway, so he gets his clarity, waits in lane, buys T2, gets it out the courier, pops it, and then Zeus immediately does a scouting ult for no reason and cancels it.
That's the old classic for sure.
Top T1 going down here. Zeus is at the top of the charts. Nothing else. The sad thing is, it's just a game where I don't know what Zeus does, if anything. Like, this is kind of the issue.
He's alright again.
It's like a very...
He's alright against the Windrunner.
Yeah, he's alright against the Windrunner. Again, if he's not the one caught, he can just smash the Windrunner to bits. If he's not the one caught, he can win out a duel easily. But there's one small issue in all this. It's Drow went bot to try and get some free farm and ran into PA and just died immediately. There's one small issue in the light of all this, and that's the fact that PA exists, and she's having... Not only does she exist, she's second place on the net worth charts. I promise you, no matter what you think you can or can't do in this game as Zeus, right? If Zeus has the best game in the world, if he has the worst game in the world, if he has 5.6k net worth or if he has 0, he's always in at least a little danger of this PA. That's an unfortunate time to get a crit.
I was gonna say, speaking of which, oof. You were talking about comedic timing.
Good turnaround there, if nothing else. The double kill on the ult, very good here. Sure enough, the power of this, something that I don't actually see, despite the fact that seems like a very slam dunk item for Zeus, you don't see it built that often on him in LD2L. I think people are just not used to it yet, haven't worked it into the builds, but that phylactery on Zeus is nasty, nasty business.
Must buy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Every coin helps.
A lot of work being done from it there, especially in the light of the slow there. Just once PA jumps, she's kind of out of mobility. It's hard to notice when she's blinking on you all the time and all that. Once she blinks, she's very slow, and you've got mini stun and another slow anyway. So you stack all that stuff together, and you kind of make her commit to a fight, which is good.
At least before BKB.
Unfortunately, this is still a thing.
Well,
Though, without
we'll
any
see.
magic damage
That's a
here.
bit, but,
No, it's
there's
still going to be
the
fine. The magic
Jakiro.
damage showed up. Here's the ult.
Once again, he made the choice to stand in the Jakiro ult for a while.
Yeah, it was a good tide ult in theory, but the problem is that good tide ults are... It's just kind of one of those things where it's like it really doesn't matter much when you're particularly far behind. You got a good tide ult and a good Winter's Curse, and they stacked right on top of each other there as well, which also does not help. This is a team that has said, oh, GRF now playing Dota 2, funnily enough. This is a team that's historically had some kind of notable coordination issues, which definitely puts a little bit more of a question mark on making a draft like this when you know you're going to be vulnerable to that kind of thing. Still,
You always have to be careful with that with the Wyvern on your team.
yeah. Still, if nothing else, could be worse, I guess. They only lost 3 in what should have been a much ungodlier fight. Let's just say, you just still nowhere. Still feels like they're about 1,000,000 miles behind. PA has surpassed Zeus, so now he's fallen off the top of the net worth charts all the way down to the top of his own team, which is a considerably smaller position. 5k net worth advantage, currently favoring the Reedy lineup.
At 15 minutes. That's
Not world-ending, but like, I don't know.
good sign about how the game's going.
Yeah. This is a really confusing thing. Alright. Everybody get your pencils out. It's time for a doofy-ass history lesson. Really a doofy-ass military things lesson. I'm gonna just completely shatter the Drow Ranger here.
Gust simply too late.
Yep. That's some F classic right there. Reminds me of when he was playing Pause 3 on this team, and every fight he doomed the Windrunner after she had already done everything. But
Was I playing the Windrunner?
you might have been the Windrunner in that game, yeah.
I
Did you ever
seem to remember
get
something like
doomed and you were already focused firing in an LD?
I had a game where that happened about 4 times.
Yeah, that was you. There you go. Anyway, what was I about to say? Yeah, there's a difference between tactics and strategy, right? And this is actually a really great example of a team that has one but not the other. This team is very tactically sound. In the space of a fight, you know exactly who's doing what, and logically at least, when things should be happening. You know, Cryptic should really start the proceedings with a nice Winter's Curse, or you should save that for counterattack in certain situations, but really, you want to start out with the Winter's Curse, get the whole family all together, knock somebody out early in the fight, have the Tideender ult come out the second it drops, so you can go into the preceding fight with as much of an advantage as possible, everything good in the world. We're gonna see maybe an attempt at that there. Oh, Windrunner, there we go. That's how they're gonna get around the Cryptic Popsicle, is that they're just going to...
Once again, Tide ult stacked on Winter ult.
That's how they're gonna get past the Cryptic Popsicle, is that they're going to proc Maelstrom on it. And then they're just gonna kill everybody. 4 for nothing trade here. 4 for nothing trade. They used 3 ults. All the ults that they had that are like, you know, not passives. Every ult that they had that wasn't passive that was present in that fight got used.
No Zeus ult actually, but
well, he wasn't present. I guess technically Zeus ult was always present.
Zeus
But yeah, of the 4 people that were here, the 3 who ulted could ult did that were present, and it didn't even get them 1, which is very unfortunate at this point. Didn't even feel like it got them like most of 1. This is one of these games where at this point it's starting to get hard to even kill the supports, which is not a great place to be. Though, at the very least, I did sweeten a little bit in the way that was just like a go on tide that they probably should have just let happen.
it was a 5k lead at 15 minutes, and at 17:30 it was a 10k lead.
Yep. Doubling it, and just like that, 2 stocks. So I was saying, in the space of a fight, all these heroes kind of have,
Ouch.
All these heroes have kind of skills that complement each other very obvious ways. Well, Tide.
Free Jick hero there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
No, they
Eventually.
actually are gonna get him. They're just gonna lose a duel, and then they're all gonna stand together for the LCQ, which turns out, never mind, they don't even need it. They're just gonna Techie's just gonna finish the job here.
Good job, Molsky. Oh,
Up.
looks like Dro and Zeus are both pretty low mid. There goes the Dro.
Oof.
Oh, maybe. No,
Nope.
no chance.
She's dead, homie.
Man,
Ultra
that's the
kill
wipe.
for the LC. Only
Molsky with a
66.
Rampage steal.
Only 66 damage on this LC. She just got an ultra kill. This is not a great spot to be in. Fairness, she didn't get that all by herself. There was quite a lot of damage otherwise, but I mean, like, this is not a good chart to see when you have a Zeus on your team. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that was a fight with the other team entirely wiped where neither Windrunner nor PA really showed up to.
Dire's
Yeah.
middle tower has fallen.
All these heroes, they want to do nominally the same thing. Point I've been trying to make for 10 minutes. You know, the Tide ult has an obvious chemistry with the Snapfire ult. For that matter, Little Shredder has obvious chemistry with the Gush. The Window of Vern ult, if you time it, can be a great preceding skill for Ravage, though I do still say it's pretty redundant. And you know, Drow can multi-shot into a big crowd of people. Zeus obviously has multiple ways of dealing damage to a big crowd of people. So from a tactical perspective, this team stands up quite well. In an individual team fight where this team was on the board, this could be great. Only problem is that, A, this is really only good proactively. They really aren't good in reaction to many teams, let alone this one. Like, this sort of lineup really only works when the enemy just really lets you get away with it, because you have nothing to offer outside of the first 2 seconds of a fight. And on top of that, we're going to run into Reedy here with the smoke up. Just immediately ult him and just start dropping all your skills on him when he's ulted. Guys, it doesn't work.
I'm sure they know how that hero works.
Now LC's
And
here.
here comes LC.
And just
Ooh.
completely shattered the winner over in here.
And they're gonna lose both supports.
Yep. At least Ty got to walk, I guess. Though he cannot be happy at this point. Tide is barely over his own supports and under the Radiant supports at this juncture.
He's got shoes and a soul ring at 20 minutes. That man is...
Hey, he's got shoes, a
there's
soul
the
ring,
blink.
and a blink. Though
There's the blink. I knew something was missing from the picture.
I cannot say in good faith I feel like the blink dagger is going to do anything for him this game.
No, it was definitely the wrong choice.
Is under attack.
His trouble is
I
not
mean-
getting his ult off.
Yeah,
he's
I
been
mean,
getting it off.
What do you do? Like, what's Ags gonna do for you in a game where you die in 5 seconds when you're looking at them anyway? I mean, I guess at least not Windrunner. Well, yeah, Windrunner and PA are kind of weak to getting queued at repeatedly with the Ags, but on the other hand, they can also just kind of walk up to you and kill you.
Attack.
You know, what are you gonna do with like a Shiva's Guard? Live for 2 seconds more? What are you gonna do with a Pipe of Insight? Get rid of the
I'm not sure
techies?
there's any item that fixes
No.
an 18k deficit at 20 minutes.
No,
That's-
he's in a bad spot. He's in a bad way. PA just taking their ancients now. Taking
Might as
their
well
ancient,
fuck that while you're here.
using their smoke, and now they're going to take their Roche. And this is one of these rare occasions where they're going to do Roche and he's not even going to go home, probably.
No, they're gonna take this and go right up the lane.
Yeah, I mean, you're crazy if you don't, right? Like, you're at a... It feels like you're at a massive advantage, and one thing I was kind of going to get into, it's like... Tactically, this team is awesome, but strategically, on the other hand, if you're looking at your, like, long game, it's like, okay, these guys peak at, like, times that are not even in each other's universe. Like, there's not going to be a point in the game where it's like, okay, Tidehunter and Zeus are roughly strong. Zeus is going to surpass the Tidehunter, and now he's going to take over for a while. No, that's not really the case. When are these guys going to be able to go uphill? Like, even if they were winning, when do you go uphill in any other way besides just killing everybody and then hitting the tower? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. There's no poke. Well, I guess Dro to a certain extent, but even then, against an LC and a Techie, it's not really.
Yeah. There's not really going to be... Like I'm struggling to think, like, what part in the game... Let's say this is hypothetically even the whole time. What part of the game does this dire team have the advantage outside of just the massively unlikely scenario of all their ults going off in perfect sequence and just going perfectly, and the Radiant doing nothing really to counteract that? And once again, we've got so many
abilities.
Yeah.
Well, they got the Aegis, but Now that's all of their abilities done, right? They've
Well,
got, what, Tidal left?
yeah, they got title. They've got the Drowl. That's the good news. If you look at the status bar. LC might actually die.
Here. She'll get the Drow first.
Nope. She's
Nope,
gonna
she's dead.
Force Staff right out. It's a great shackle. I don't know if they realized how good it was. They're likely gonna be able to. Okay, this is very bold here.
I mean, big title, but what's the payoff?
Yeah, big title, but nobody was like ready for that.
And even if they were, Drow's dead.
Zeus.
That's not a big deal.
Gonna be another duel. T3 tower is finally gonna go down here. Only Cryptic survives. The captain of the team watches all of his men fall. And then he's like, okay, we're done. Okay, well that was earlier than I thought, but it's hard to argue with it, to be honest with you.
I understand why this team disbanded the next game.
Yep.
That tracks.
Yeah. I mean, it's always one thing or another for the Cryptic team this season, it felt like. This team, I said it before and I'll say it again, right? On paper, as individual players, all 5 of these guys are good players. And I think there's a lot of people who might dispute individuals, but I think it would be very difficult to say that in a season where you could kind of generously describe the pool of teams as the island of misfit toys, right? A team where you have, all 5 players are playing a comfort position. That's a good start, right? On a team where it's like, none of these guys are learning new heroes from scratch. They're playing things that they at least already know how to do. That's a good thing. And I think there was good individual chemistry between a Sculpture 3 and a couple of the guys in this lineup. But I mean, here's really the long and short of this, right? This team, it didn't click. These guys had no chemistry. And it took me until after they had disbanded for me to really kind of consciously realize exactly why that is. And I think, funnily enough, this game is actually a very nice, perfect window into it, right? Meph and Carp are too similar. They play very similar heroes in a very similar style, who want to do very similar things, and want to be doing those very similar things at a very similar time. And what that means is, unless you have a game which is like God's gift to Carp games or God's gift to Meth games, then what you're going to have is just 2 guys who are just very redundant compared to each other. Like in this game, where you've got 2 guys who are very squishy, relying on the team to play point guard for them, and just want to do some glass cannon, maximum DPS, minimum amount of time type build scenario stuff. You didn't have Carp and Meth doing anything different. Even though they're very different heroes on paper, in practice, what they were really trying to get done was basically the same.
Do damage from the back lines, and that into a PA and a Legion. And a Wind Ranger, for that matter.
Yeah, that wasn't happening. There was no... I'll just be frank enough to say, it's hard for me to even imagine a team where you want to do this kind of strategy. Like, you have 3 guys with team fight ults. You've got 2 guys who are there for the cleanup crew, but neither of those cleanup crew guys does anything else. What happens if you catch one individual person on this team? You just gotta let them go like a fish,
Yeah, there's nothing short of the title, really. I mean, maybe Snapfire, but I don't feel like that's going to be enough.
Right. So, you've got a lot of redundant guys, and you've got a team with basically no chemistry. So, usually I would have some epic pun based on the name of the team, but we're not doing that this season. So, this team did that this season. I actually really like the name, Imagine Dragons, but only 2 or 3 teams actually had a theme name and everyone else is just dumb crap, so unfortunately, no pun to be made off of that. Anything else you want to say about this particular game? Anything we didn't beat to death here?
No, I think we covered most of the salient points about this. I'm not sure there were that many.
Alright, now it's time for the end of season rundown for the Cryptic formerly Matty Boy lineup. Yeah, I mean, it was just disaster to disaster for this team. And it's a very unfortunate situation because it's like a Greek tragedy. It's like half of the stuff that happened to the Cryptic lineup, they kind of probably brought onto themselves. The other half of the things that happened to the Cryptic lineup were just like some dumb, terrible, just bad things that happened to them. Just like, people misunderstanding each other. Meth got a new job literally in the middle of the season with like ungodly hours, which keeps happening to people in LD2L for some reason.
Work
Like,
schedule changes.
yep, they just had like very clashing schedules. Matty Boy leaves in the middle of the whole thing. I can't say, in all honesty, I feel like this team does that much better with Matty still around because the problem of having the guys with like no chemistry still exists, and just beyond like Meth and Carp being too similar as players, it's like you can just definitely tell. It's not just that you have like 5 people playing like a pub, right? That would be one thing. But, even in something like Dota, there's something. Doctrine exists. Do you know off the top of your head what doctrine means? I'm going to use that as a point to say whether I should explain it or not.
A doctrine is, I suppose, a set of beliefs which is
Yes.
held and taught by some group.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good way to put it. Specifically, it's usually the belief centered around the way things should be done. It's not like you saw 5 people with, just who were just uncoordinated with each other, though they certainly did have their more uncoordinated moments. It's like you had 5 guys, and aside from Meth and Carp, it's like all of them very, very much disagreed on a fundamental level on what the team should be, on like how you win Dota games, how you find success as like individual people as a unit. It just didn't work, and it was very plain to see. Like I said, I know some people are going to hear this and say, "Oh, your buddy or whatever." But I don't know many who would disagree with this statement on the face of it. I mean, like, if you just look at the record, like, last season, Carp was on, like, the super dominant team where everyone thought he was going to be the jabroni that was going to bring them all down, and he wasn't. He was sitting there next to White Joel Birch, who, between signups and the actual game, was already back in Ancient, before Glicko, mind you, right? Went
Greg's
from
gotta
Archon.
stop letting that happen.
Yeah, went from Archon to Ancient. Was winning in like low divine games as a pause 1, and everyone thought, "Oh, this is going to be the anchor around their neck." No, he hung. He did fine.
He did.
Cryptic on Bean 10 was able to make combination Bean like look like a pause 1 player instead of somebody who was trying to learn pause 1 again, basically after not being in it for a very long time. Like, if you compare the Bean 10 performance to the Quap Circle's performance the season prior, that really tells you. I think, a lot of people will say Matt and Danny, but I think Cryptic was really, like, the thing that let that team have a season. If it was not for him, that team has no season. And just remember, those guys beat the finalists when they had a Smurf stand-in that Scotty got banned from RD2L for using. Like, Rada has had a stint here as Pause 3 on the Dragon Ball Zeus lineup back in Season 14. Unfortunate as that particular lineup was, at the very least, it's like the guy's always surrounded by these top-tier players, and you know that because of what he's doing, right? Like, he is learning, and it is visible that he is learning, right? So even if he's not at, like, the top of the charts, at the very least, he's one as a captain, so he's going to bring some organizational pedigree. He's going to bring like the just the benefits of like the knowledge around him to the game. So even if the mechanics can be clunky sometimes, or even if some of the in the heat decisions can be clunky sometimes, nobody's going to call him like a bad player, right?
Sure.
Meth is I mean, what can I say about Meth? He's some goofy ass jabroni, like really the anchor around my neck, basically all the time. This guy couldn't win a match if you said GG. That's all I'm saying. And as Culture 3...
No. I mean, when he was on my team, at least, it felt like before every game, he'd sort of roll some dice, and that decided whether he was going to play like God or like he had lost his monitor.
There we go. I mean, I do think a lot of it is, Meth is one of the people where, actually, like US Danny, funnily enough, where I do think you are going to get a different Meth depending on whether he's had a good day or a shitty day. But
Mhm.
I think even on the shitty day, he's going to play a perfectly serviceable Dota game, and on a good day, he's just going to kill everybody. And unless you stick him on a Drow Ranger, I guess he sticks himself on a Drow Ranger against a bunch of guys who can close the gap into 1,000,000 damage, but neither here nor there. And his Culture 3 was on one of the most interesting teams, maybe, in the lineup of LD2L teams. This is Sparta, the Jackie Chin's team from Season 12, which started off with one of the just most embarrassing games I have ever seen in like a Dota scenario. I mean, the first couple of weeks for This Is Sparta, you would think they were going to go. They could have a season of 900 games and they would never win one, and they actually managed to turn it around and actually make it on bracket. It's one of the most dramatic. Like it's basically them and the PVC pipe team this season are tied up for like the most improved week over week award I've seen in casting LD2L, right? So you look at these five guys, they're five individually good players who made a terrible team. They couldn't work with each other. Just to be frank, if the public disputes did not give it away, they didn't really much care for each other. Matty Boy stepped out in the middle of the season and found himself replaced by Rada, who I feel terrible for suggesting because I feel like I put him in like this horrible scenario because he just kind of the problem's exacerbated. It's like Matty Boy already kind of stuck out from this team. Rada stuck out further, it felt like. Just, he had a horrible time. Like, it was a very stressful occasion for him, you know? And it's like, it makes me feel like an asshole. I sent this guy
you couldn't
in.
have known.
What?
You couldn't have known.
Yeah, I couldn't have known. But it still makes me feel like an asshole. It's like I heard this guy saying when I queued with him, "Oh, I want to be, it's a shame the season started. I wanted to be a part of it." Heard a slot opened up. I said, go for it, right? Because I really thought this team could turn it around. And I think if it's five gray blobs who are this team's player strengths, they can very easily turn it around. I think this is hypothetically still top 3 team this season. Like I said at the top, it's the island of broken toys, right? Everybody's in a comfort role. That already counts for something, but I don't know. Good players, bad team. They just didn't get along, which is fine.
Sometimes it doesn't click.
Yeah, it's gonna happen to everybody. If I was on a team, I have had plenty of people I didn't get along with more than any of these people didn't get along with each other. You put me on a team with all those guys, I'm gonna go 1-19 as well. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I just really hope it doesn't, I hope people moving forward do not take this season as a reflection of these players, because I really don't think that's how it goes. Luckily, this is a shitpost season, so nobody's going to care anyway. And that's it for this series, and that's it for the Cryptic team in general, who is taking the rest of this season off. Any final thoughts? Any last wishes?
Well, just hope these guys have a better time next season, really.
Yeah, I would be astounded if they didn't. If you or somebody you know wants to learn Dota 2 at a casual or more competitive level, go to ld2l.gg today to sign up. It's too late to get into this season, surprisingly enough. But there's still plenty of time to stand in. There is still plenty of queues popping all over the place, and Season 17 probably ain't all that far away if the decreased times between seasons, which I think is actually making things worse, honestly, has anything to say about it. And we'll see you next time.